What's up everyone, MK Tom Brady here. In this video, I want to talk about something that I discovered about Sheeva's drag and drop stomp. Now I did a video yesterday that I uploaded in which people saw me abruptly end the video in complete frustration. That was actually the wrong video that I put up, and today I put up the right video without that frustrating outburst. But the reason why I had that outburst is because of what I had discovered. And after testing it further, I want to show you guys what I'm talking about here. So Sheeva's stomp, people always talk about this is broken, that is broken. Very rarely when someone says something is broken is it actually true. Usually it's some form of embellishment and exaggeration, more fiction than fact. However, there is a basis to make some of these claims here. So Sheeva's stomp, without any delay, comes out on and makes contact on frame 66, and if you delay it to its maximum, it comes out on frame 96. Now that's a 30 frame window in between for you to move around and try to reposition yourself around the more tracking versions of the stomp. But players have said there are actually like 4 different delay timings. So there are 4 versions of her stomp, which makes it really hard to get around. 4 versions doesn't even scratch the tip of the iceberg here. So again, look at my startup frames. You are seeing the stomp make contact on frame 66 of the move. Now, if you look at player 2's startup frame box, instead of frame 66, you are now looking at the stomp making contact on what is now frame 67. And here we have the stomp again, making contact on what is now frame 68. And now we're going to show the stomp making contact on what is now frame 69. And finally, we're going to round it off and show the stomp making contact on what is now frame number 70. So you have seen the move make contact on frame 96 with this max delay. Then frame 66, 67, 68, 69, and frame 70. She can also make the stomp hit on frame 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, all the way to frame 96. That's right, boys. She can take the stomp and have it hit anywhere from frame 66 to frame 96. There are 30 possible delay timings of the stomp. She has 30 possible versions of just this drag and drop right here. Now this move has incredible tracking. Incredible tracking. In fact, you don't even need the enhanced versions here. You see I have the enhanced drag and drop equipped where I can hold forward or backwards and angle the stomp. Well, the character I recorded this on doesn't have any stomps here because the generic drag and drop is a default loadout move. It doesn't need to be equipped here. So these right here, these 2 stomps are pretty much completely worthless. You don't even need them, which means we haven't even seen the full power of Sheeva yet because you can just remove that as a slotted move and slot a different move instead. So she's actually about to get even better than she is right now. And the reason is because of just the insane degree of tracking on this move here. You see, you can have it, that was frame 96, frame 83. Like, look at the frames you can have this hit on. Frame 84, frame 71, frame 81, frame 87, frame 95. You have incredible leeway from early, intermediate, and even late timings. And this move just tracks 1,000 times better than her holding forward or holding backwards version because several months back, the tracking on this stomp was actually buffed. So here's a move that has 30 different timings, and then they buffed the tracking, which is why we have the drag and drop that we have right now, which is why it's so powerful because in reality, 99% of the stomps you get hit by, they're not a hold forward stomp. They're not a hold backward stomp. They're just different variants of this one stomp right here. That's because whatever you're doing to move yourself out of the way, if she times the delay properly, she has a delay timing that will counter every possible movement tool you could have. If she knows exactly how you're going to get around it, she can stop it, period. You have to guess which one of the 30 versions of the stomp she's going to do and try to find a way around it. Now, people are going to ask, what about that nerf they did last week? Well, here's what that was exactly. So this move here now lands on 66. They added 2 startup frames. So what was now 64 is now 66. And here what was now 94 is now 96. So it's a little slower overall by 2 frames, but it's still the same 30 frame window in between and still has the same 30 different variables to it. Now, one of the reasons why people get upset is this move is unblockable, it's delayable, it tracks, and it also, oh yeah, before we move on here, it also has a crushing blow on it that does 32%, which is basically the same damage as a fatal blow. And the crushing blow requirement just requires that you hit 3 stomps without missing 1. It's not a rocket science requirement here. And this really calls attention to not just Sheeva, but in general. Despite all the good Mortal Kombat 11 does, it also brings back to not just moves like this that are, what were you thinking? Brings back to something more ridiculous. This move is default. It even calls more attention to the jank, to the pins and needles this game is put together with. Again, a character like Melina has to equip air sai, air telekick, etc. It's not handed to her. Cetrion, we went over, can equip a move and gains all the variants of that move. Sheeva, this move isn't even a slotted move. It's just default. You have characters having to equip slotted moves for moves that do a billion different things just by default. And it makes the variation system completely out of whack. You also, again, common problem, we all know. You have moves that are default or 1 slot, best moves in the game. The most crap trash moves in the game are 2 and 3 slots. The slotting is wrong. The default moves and everything that some of these 1 slot and default moves do all in one, that's wrong. Characters like Shao Kahn need a complete overhaul. A lot needs an overhaul in some sense, and some things just need tweaks. And again, this drag and drop, not only is it not a banned move, it's a default move. Meanwhile, Rain's wave dash over here has to be banned. Keep in mind, the drag and drop is more powerful than any single banned move in the entire game, as is moves like Jackie's leap. These are the best moves in the game, basically, moves like this, and they're either 1 slot or just default. The entire game, the way it's slapped together, is wrong. It's just super janky. And while sure, Sheeva's drag and drop just shows how ridiculous the move is, and how ridiculous it was even thinking about banning a player that would ask, why did NRS do this? Because we're all right now asking, why did you do this? But it also, again, calls attention to the fact that at its core, Mortal Kombat 11, despite everything it does, is held together by jank, by pins and needles. And there's a lot this game could do. This game could be the greatest game ever, or it could just be a game that stays halfway done. It's in need of some form of an overhaul. Not a tweak, not a touch, an overhaul. Otherwise, I mean, I don't really need to say anything else. I think this all speaks for itself. But let me know in the comments what you're thinking. By the way, I'm not hating on Mortal Kombat 11. And I know most of the comments are going to blast me for crying about the game. And people are going to say, Tom's complaining, Tom this, Tom that. But look, this is why people chill. This is why people don't want to call issues to the game. Because when you do, all people do is say, you're crying and complaining about it. Which just makes us chill and say, nothing's wrong. Can't have it both ways, community. And that's why, even myself, after this video, I'm going to go the route of being a shill. But I did just want to bring this to attention just because there are a lot of people who've been talking about the drag and drop, and I feel like they need some form of vindication here. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about all this. I'm always curious to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for supporting all my videos, and as always, Stay tuned for more content.